Blog Talk Radio.
27 object, both position and the suspect here, 33
134 be advised, 27 associates with the suspect and the victim. West.
Anyone, William 172, no water warrant.
You are listening to another edition.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the LP Zone, the Loss Prevention Zone, where everything that we talk about, everything that this show is all about is retail asset protection, loss prevention, retail security, shopping mall, whether you're uniformed, plainclothes, covert, undercover, or a camera operator, we're all about you here on the LP Zone. We have an interesting topic today, as we're going to be talking today about complicity and conspiracy, the difference and the similarities, how they can and cannot be the same, how to identify when somebody truly is complicit in a retail theft situation or may have been involved in a larger conspiracy, especially when we're talking about organized retail crime. So we're going to share some of that information with you, some ways to spot and to identify those who are truly complicit, even if they're not right there next to the person actually doing the theft. And we're also going to talk about how to communicate that information to prove that they were complicit and to testify in a comprehensive manner so that you win your case. And that's what it's all about. We want to make sure that we have a good case that we can bring before either a jury or a judge if it's a bench trial. So we're going to be talking about that here shortly. We do have some tragic news. You probably have heard this if you are a member of the Private Officer International Association, or if you follow any of our news, then you know that in Prince William County in Woodstock, Virginia, at the Potomac Mills Mall over the weekend, a Burlington Coat Factory loss prevention agent lost his life while detaining or attempting to detain a shoplifter. According to police, Larry Donnell Drumgold, 44, of Rappahannock Academy in Caroline County, Virginia, was that loss prevention agent. He and his partner spotted a male subject who had taken a number of items, was attempting to leave the store at around 2:30 in the afternoon, and they confronted him. Now, this is something that we do over 1 million times a year. Nationwide in the U.S., there's over a million apprehensions by loss prevention. Only a small fraction of these go bad, but we are seeing an increase. And we speak about this regularly. We are seeing an increase in assaults, in shoplifters with firearms, knives. And unfortunately, this was one of those situations where the suspect, Jamel Carlos Kingsbury, 35, was armed, and he began to stab the loss prevention agent multiple times and flee. Unfortunately, the LP agent died of his injuries Saturday, and the suspect, Kingsbury, did flee the area. The second LP agent was not injured, according to law enforcement, and we are excited, happy, thrilled to report that police did arrest in Washington, D.C. yesterday Kingsbury. Jamel Carlos Kingsbury is in custody. He's charged with murder of the LP agent from Burlington Coat Factory. We, Private Officer International, plan on making sure that he is prosecuted to the full extent of the law. We're going to be working with the DA's office in Virginia. They're called the Commonwealth's Attorney, but we're going to be working with them during the prosecution, and we're definitely going to try to be in the court during the process. It's important that private security, private law enforcement, that we stick together, that we help to get the information to capture the suspects, and then we provide the support to law enforcement, to prosecutors, to the court system. We let them know that there is somebody out there who cares and somebody who wants to see, justice for the victim. Surely this security agent went to work that day thinking it would be just another typical day at the store. We've all been there. We all know the dangers, and yet we try not to think about it, and we just try to go and get the job done. We hope that you are aware of your surroundings. We hope that you are aware of the dangers and that you truly take this job much more seriously than just another job. Because private security, especially those of us in the security industry who are detaining people, enforcing the law, every time that a loss prevention agent makes an apprehension, they are making an arrest. Even if they release that person on a no trespass warning or on some type of, we're going to let you go, verbal, whatever, it's still similar to an arrest. And we really have to be aware of our surroundings and the potential for violence. We pass our condolences along to the family, and we do plan on doing what we can to support the court system in this prosecution. Hello everyone, and welcome to the LP Zone. My name is Rick McCann. I'm the founder and CEO of Private Officer International, a 43-year veteran of the security and law enforcement industry. And today on the LP Zone, we're going to be talking about conspiracy and complicity. What's the difference? Are they the same? How do we know? We're also going to talk a little bit more about some items in the news and some upcoming events. If you're not a member of Private Officer International, we encourage you to do so. Join us at privateofficer.com. This is open to all loss prevention, retail security, uniform security, bail enforcement, private police, and those working in the public safety arena, including sworn law enforcement officers. Check us out at privateofficer.com. We really are kind of in the middle of deciding about putting together an LP conference. I know that there's a couple of others that are being done nationwide, but we just feel the need to get more involved in loss prevention. Feel free to send us an email at helpdesk@privateofficer.com. Let us know what your thoughts are about that, and maybe we'll get that together later this year. We want to thank our sponsors, Body Armor USA. If you need a vest, if you work in corrections, law enforcement, security, even LP these days, unfortunately, we have to be prepared. Check out our friends over at Body Armor USA. They've got us covered, whether you need a vest or some type of other armor, clothing, gloves, different type of protective gear. They have what you need. BodyArmorUSA.com. All right, we're back talking today about the dangers, about the job, about loss prevention and retail security. So what is the difference? What is complicity? What is conspiracy? Conspiracy basically is when a group, multiple people, have gathered together and decided to plot to take action against someone or something. Clearly, they're conspiring to break the law. It's a secret plan to do something unlawful or harmful. Conspiracy is a little bit different in the language of state statutes. It varies from state to state. That's why we always say it's very important that you get to know what the statutes of your state are and definitively understand what that language is, because it's not as simple as just saying, oh, they're conspiring, oh, they're all together, oh, they all came in together. It's all just one big group and they're all here to do harm or to break the law. It's not that easy. We have to be really up on the law and understand what the statutes are, because otherwise we grab the wrong people, we make a bad apprehension, we make a bad bust, and we could be charged with unlawful restraint. We could be sued. It could be a situation where we could face criminal or civil action, and definitely our employers as well. So be sure that you are up on the details, on the language specific to your state, and know the statute. Complicity. Complicity is a little different. Complicity is really when you have people, a group, could be two people, participating in a criminal act. And you're accompanying a person or persons involved in crime. You become a partner in their criminal activity. You participate in any manner. It could be one person, it could be several people. And it doesn't have to be a conspiracy. You could just decide to engage in the criminal activity of your friend or friends. It's a criminal act by an accomplice, a partner in the crime, who aids or encourages other perpetrators of that crime. That's complicity. How do you prove complicity? How do you prove conspiracy? It's similar, but they are separate. Again, understanding the statutes of your state, understanding what you can and can't do, that's step one. Step two is really going to be to identify what the person is doing. We've all walked the floor. We've all watched the cameras. We've all been behind the one-way mirror. We all see things. And sometimes we begin to evaluate or assess what's happening, but then we also read it the way that we want to read it. Oh, he's the lookout. Oh, they're over there. They're helping. They're pointing out the merchandise to steal. They're somehow engaged in that theft. And that may or may not be reality. Sometimes when you're watching, especially when you're off the floor, you're in a darkened 12 by 12 room or 15 by 15 room, and you're watching cameras, we read into things that may or may not be real, or even if they are real, we may or may not be able to support that in evidentiary terms. We may not be able to identify specifics that they've done or they're doing to connect them with the actual perpetrator of the theft or the conspiracy or the return or whatever it is that's happening. Sometimes this happens quite a bit actually in credit card fraud. There'll be more than one person who's part of the shopping spree, and only one person goes to the register with that credit card, but there may be several other supporters, gangsters, conspirators that are right there with that person. How do you prove that they knew it was a stolen credit card? How do you prove that they actually conspired? How do you know that they were complicit? Well, after this break coming up, we do have some pointers. We have some ways that we can link them. Again, stay specific. Know the statute. That's really where it's going to begin. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back. We're going to talk about complicity and conspiracy here on the LP Zone, part of the Private Officer Network.
For some children, America isn't the land of promise. It's a place where every day is a struggle. Because today in America, 1 in 6 children lives below the poverty line. For these children, living in poverty means going without medicine, going without food, going without a warm home, or even a roof over your head. And that's life for nearly 13 million children of all races, all across America. Where will you draw the line and get involved? You can help these children and their families find a way out of poverty for good. And you can make a difference in more ways than you think. Will you help? Go to povertyusa.org today. Because 1 in 6 children in poverty is one too many. A message.
All right, welcome back to the LP Zone. We're talking today about complicity and conspiracy. Well, they're somewhat similar, but yet quite different in many ways. We really want to make sure that we understand when we can charge somebody with conspiracy or complicity in a theft, a credit card incident, a situation where multiple people have gathered here at the retail store, the big box store. And we want to make sure that we have good cases. We're not just making cases. I remember in my younger days when I first began loss prevention, we tried to grab as many people as possible. If there were 5 people standing around and one person was shoplifting, well, we'd charge everybody. Let the courts figure it out, we'd say. Kind of the same thing they say in law enforcement sometimes. But that's not really the best method, not the best SOP to have, because when you go to court, you're going to have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that everyone, not just the person who concealed the merchandise, not just the person who walked out the door with the unpaid merchandise, not just the person who had the credit card in their possession, but everybody that was arrested, everybody who was there was complicit, was participating in the crime some way, somehow, in some manner. We want to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row when we do go to court. Now, when we're working on a case, especially when we've surveilled these people for some time, it's exciting. Our adrenaline is flowing. Our blood is pumping, and we just want to grab everybody. We want to make a big bust. But we want to make sure that they are definitely involved. And there's a difference between knowing the crime is going down, that something is occurring that's not right, and proving that they had something to do with it. So let me give you a couple examples. You have 4 people at the end cap, 4 people that are standing there while a 5th person is in the middle of the aisle and they're stuffing merchandise down their pants, in their purse, or in a container of some type. Are those 4 persons complicit? Probably not. Just standing there and watching the theft go down doesn't make them complicit. Could it be a conspiracy? It could be. Maybe they all planned out in the parking lot or at the house to come in and steal this merchandise. And they all said, yeah, let's do it, everybody, yeah. But only one person committed the theft. The other 4 stood feet away at the end cap watching. It's going to be very difficult for you to get in their head to know whether or not they really saw the theft or that they were complicit with that they did conspire in the theft. It's very difficult. What about you have several women standing at a rack. One woman takes merchandise off the rack, hands it to a second woman. She takes it off the hanger and sticks the blouse in her purse. Now do you have complicity or conspiracy? Yeah, you could probably prove complicity. You could probably charge that person who took it off the rack, but when you get to court and the defense lawyer says, hey, how do you know? Well, she took it off the rack. She handed it to the other woman. Okay, but maybe she said, go to the fitting room and try this on. Or maybe she asked, do you like this color? Is this the right size? How do you know? She said, take it and steal it. That's going to be difficult to prove. You might have complicity and you might have a conspiracy, but you can't prove it. So Many times when police stop a vehicle and they find drugs or guns and there are multiple people in the vehicle, now, most of the time, only the person who had the merchandise, had the gun, had the drugs, or the drugs or gun was close enough within constructive possession, they charge that person, not everybody in the car. Same thing with shoplifting or credit fraud. You've got to charge the actor, the person who physically is in control of the merchandise. Now let me give you a couple of examples of when you could probably prove complicity. You have 2 or 3 people. They've taken merchandise off the rack. They've all been involved in taking it off the hangers, and they've all rolled the merchandise up and handed it off to a second or third party, and that party concealed it. Now you definitely have complicity. The video is going to show, and most stores do have videos these days, the video is going to show that those others actively participated. It wasn't just that they stood there and maybe watched the theft go down. No, they actively participated by rolling up the merchandise. It was more than taking it off the shelf or taking it off the rack. Now you have them physically involved in the actual rolling up and preparing of the theft. Just like when you have 2 people breaking into a car. You've got one person who gets out of the vehicle and goes over into the trunk and gets a tire iron. He hands it off to a second person who smashes out the window. You've got them both participating in the crime. In a situation where they both put the merchandise into a package, into a box, into a container, they both had the merchandise in their control, and they both actively participated in that theft. Now you do have complicity, and you can charge them both or all 3 or 6 or 7 or 8. I've had a couple of cases where we've had 7 and 8 people charged in complicity and all guilty pleas. It's very important that we are able not only to document on the video recording, but also with actual active participation. The video is going to show them there. It's going to show them maybe take the merchandise out of the blister pack or out of the packaging. That would be active. But just standing around laughing or even passing merchandise to a secondary or third party, that's going to be kind of hard to prove. Complicity and conspiracy, there's a lot of it happening, but we're not always able to charge everybody who might be in the group or everybody who even might have participated. Sometimes it's better just to get the person with the merchandise. If the case goes to a grand jury because it's a felony, they may or may not indict. They may or may not believe there's enough evidence. And at that point, what you have, if they don't indict, is you're going to have a bad stop. You're going to have a lawsuit for unlawful detention, for detaining them for no reason. And that's what many stores, many retailers are very afraid of, obviously, is lawsuits. And unfortunately, it's part of the business. When you're making 1 million+ apprehensions every year, you're going to have those bad stops. You're going to have those situations where even sometimes when it's a good stop, a good apprehension, a real theft, you're still going to have those situations where the actor, the thief, the person who was shoplifting is going to sue the store. You're going to have cases that go to trial and they're going to be found not guilty. You're going to have cases that go to court and the prosecutor, the DA, is going to no process it. They're going to not proceed with the case because either they don't feel that the case is strong enough or they just don't have enough evidence. They don't want to proceed any further, and they're going to drop the charges. That may trigger a lawsuit. That doesn't mean it's a bad apprehension. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong, but it is part of stopping shoplifters. It's part of the loss prevention arena, and it's something that stores don't like, but it's part of the process, unfortunately. Complicity and conspiracy. We can get that whether it be shoplifting or credit card fraud. Ticket switching, which really that was big in the old days when we had real tickets. Now everything is done computerized. It's much easier to catch, but it still happens occasionally. We have a lot of organized retail crime, and that's really where you're going to get those complicity charges. That's where you're going to get conspiracy. You're going to get large groups who come in And they may multitask. One group may set the merchandise in the corner, a second group may come in and conceal it, and yet, they do it at different times, but you have the evidence, you have the video, you have the testimony that shows that they were actively involved as a unit all together. So you might have a good complicity case. Know the law in your state. Understand what the statute is. It's different in every single state. That's going to conclude this edition of the LP Zone, the Loss Prevention Zone, where everything's all about retail security, asset protection, and loss prevention. And, of course, we're going to come back here for our weekly Private Officer Beat show this week. Be sure to join us then. And if you ever have questions, send us an email at help@privateofficer.com, or we invite you to become a member. If you're not, just go to privateofficer.com. Until the next time, be safe, be blessed, and we'll see you back here on the radio, right here on the LP Zone.